Well, hi guys. It's time for Senior Moments, evidence of a misspent youth, and did I say misspent youth? And I'm Tommy Ellison, your host, but you knew that. And this is episode 48 of Senior Moments, and seems like it's hard to believe it's almost been a year doing this on a weekly basis. So anyway, I want to talk to you this evening because there are some differences between Catholics and Baptists. And you know, before we get into that, I want to say this kind of up front. We do have a few things in common, whether you know that or not. I know because I have been both Catholic and Baptist. And, well, I will say this, though. Sometimes things can go astray, and stay with me on this because I'm going to explain that in just a moment. And I'm going to explain it right now on Senior Moments. Well, let's talk about what we have in common. This is the unity that agrees and I guess that exists between Catholics and Baptists. You know, we kind of agree on the things that really matter. I mean, there are some things that, you know, really not all that important, but these are some things that really matter. I mean, we both believe that Jesus is the Son of God, and that he died for our sins and rose again. And we both believe the Bible is the Word of God, and that salvation comes only through Jesus Christ, and that we're supposed to live it out and share it. So when you boil it all down, we're kind of on the same page, and consequently, we are on the same team. And I'm going to downplay the differences now. We go about things a little differently, I guess, on Sunday morning. Different styles, different rhythms in our music, different traditions. But today is not about, theology. This is just about moments that kind of make me smile. And I'm going to tell you a little story that I heard a long time ago and share it with you. And, you be the judge of whether or not you think it's funny. I thought it was hilarious. But this whole idea of Baptists and Catholics kind of reminded me of a story that I heard years ago. And it was about a Baptist boy and a Catholic boy. And the Baptist boy had decided to go to church. And let me just say, it didn't go well when he and the Catholic boy hooked up to go to church together. And here's the way the story kind of lays out. These two boys, same rough age, different worlds. One was Catholic. He was walking to Mass. And the one that was Baptist was actually sitting on the curb on the street, eating a block of Limburger cheese. And the Catholic boy says to the Baptist boy, says, "Hey, you want to go to church with me?" And the Baptist boy says, "Sure." Now, as they're walking to the church, he started to give him a couple of, what you would call a primer and pre-church instructions as they're walking up to the church. And the Catholic boy says, "Now, first of all, you need to put that cheese in your pocket. You can't eat in church. And remember, whatever I do, you do the same, and you'll be fine. Nobody will think anything about you being there." And so the little Baptist boy says, "Okay, all right." And so they get up to the church, and they get ready, and they walk through the first front door. And as they walk through the lobby into the sanctuary, there's what in the Catholic Church is called the holy water font. It's like a little sink, without the on and off or the hot and cold. And so it holds the holy water that the Catholics revere. And so the little guy, or the Catholic, he dips his finger in the holy water and he makes the sign of the cross like Catholics do, like I used to do. And he turns and says, "Now, you do the same." And the Baptist boy says, "Okay." He had no idea why or what was going on, but he made the sign of the cross after he had dipped his fingers into the holy water. So they went on in and they found a pew, and the Catholic boy says, "Now remember, just follow me." And so he actually got up to the end of the pew and he bowed down on one knee, what was known as genuflecting in the Catholic Church. Excuse me. And he looks back at the little Baptist boy and says, "Now you do the same." And so the little Baptist boy, he did the same knee, kind of like a one knee, in a football game, I guess. And he stands up, and they move into the pew. Now the priest enters, and everybody stood up, and the little Baptist boy stood up as well. And then the time in the Mass came when the Catholic, in the Catholic Mass, where the people begin to kneel. And if you've ever been into a Catholic church, there's this thing that drops down out of the pew in front of you. It's called a kneeler, and it's kind of aptly named because that's what you kneel on. You put your knees on it, and it kind of has a little bit of cushion to it, so it's a little more uncomfortable than just kneeling on hardwood. And so the little Catholic boy drops to his knees at the appropriate time onto the kneeler. And the little Baptist boy, who's really not quite used to getting on his knees, unless he's dropped something, he follows anyway, and he gets on his knees. And about that time, as they're going through this ritual, they would stand up, and the little Baptist boy would stand up, and as the congregation would sit down, the little Catholic boy would sit down. And when they went on the kneeler, he would go on the kneeler, and then they would get up and they would stand and they would sit and they would kneel, going through all the rituals of the Mass. But during that time frame, well, let me put it this way. If you don't know anything about Limburger cheese, you need to know that it kind of has a strong odor as it reaches room temperature. And he had a little piece of Limburger cheese in his pocket, if you remember correctly, and it had started to warm up. And then it kind of started to speak. And the people around him started, noticing this scent of that Limburger cheese. And the heads were turning and the faces were reacting, but they couldn't figure out where that smell was coming from. And then the little Catholic boy, he leans over and he whispers to the little Baptist boy, Did you toot?" And the little Baptist boy whispers back and says, "No, was I supposed to?" I thought it was funny. And that pretty much sums it up. I mean, they both have the same God, the same faith, but just a few differences in how we do things. Now, I want to flash forward from those days of my youth to this morning, because I found myself in a situation where I was the one trying to keep up with what was going on around me. And here's what was happening. We were in church, and I sing in the choir. And most of the time I can work my way through most of the songs, and I'm a pretty good sight reader when it comes to singing the bass line. And the choir, we're leading the congregation and singing songs, and everybody knows them, and everybody's kind of into it. And then we do this song. We had rehearsed it at Wednesday night practice, but I wasn't really all that together. I mean, I knew the melody, but it turns out there were some hand gestures that went around with this song. And apparently it was something that they learned either in Sunday school when they were kids, and I'm in an all adult choir here, but they seemed to all know it, I guess because they were all raised Baptists, or maybe they learned it in Vacation Bible School. I don't know. I didn't, because I never went to Vacation Bible School. I remember sitting on the front steps of my house there in my hometown, and the local Baptist church would be having Vacation Bible School, and they'd have a parade coming through the neighborhoods, and the kids were all yelling and had crepe paper on their cards yelling, "Come to Vacation Bible School, come to vacation." I had no idea what they were talking about because I was Catholic. But I was introduced to this song on this past Wednesday night, and so I thought, well, what the heck, I'll give it my best shot. And so, I kind of got through the rehearsal, but I didn't realize that they were going to do the hand motions when we sang it this Sunday morning, earlier today. And I'm standing, back there on the third row of the choir, in essence, trying to think to myself, well, okay, I'll just follow them. How hard can it be? And of course you're going to look at me and you're going to look at them and you're going to think Tommy looks like he's directing traffic at the airport or trying to land a plane in the fog. I'm not so sure. But I wanted to set it up to tell you that this was a Vacation Bible School song with hand motions while we sang. And I just, thought, you might like to watch my embarrassment this morning. When you see the reel that I'm about to show you, watch out for the big good-looking guy on the top row, far right, last seat on the far right row, and try not to laugh too hard. So, are you ready? I'll run the reel now.
The rains came down and the floods came up. Yes, the rains came down and the floods came up. The rains came down and the floods came up. And the house on the sand fell down. Good job today.
Well, there you go. The shoe is on the other foot. Well, I hope you enjoy the song and the story, and I hope you enjoyed episode 48. And if you would, be sure and leave a comment to tell me how funny you thought this was. And if you didn't think it was funny, just keep your comments to yourself, okay? Anyway, we're out of here. It's Sunday night, and we're getting ready to watch basketball tonight as Alabama spars with another team in the big dance. So I hope you guys have a great week, and join me next week, next Sunday, live at 5 for Senior Moments, the evidence of a misspent youth. And be sure and listen to this guy coming up. He has all the skinny on what you should do next. Good night. Well, hey, thanks for spending a few minutes with me